who previously had been denied because they could not demonstrate they face a specific threat of injury or harm. Well, you don't need to. What, you got to be mugged or raped before you have before you get a concealed carry permit in D.C.? How about you don't need to show why you want one. It's just that it's your constitutional right to have one and to be able to carry it. And because you do not want to be mugged, and you do not want to be raped, and you do not want to be burgled or carjacked or any of that other stuff. Now, the gun owners who brought the case against the city received phone calls from the Metro Police Department on Thursday advising them to come to the department's firearm registration section for approval of their concealed carry permits. This was an announcement issued by Alan Gottlieb, vice president of the Second Amendment Foundation, which backed the lawsuit. That's a good thing. You have the right to protect yourself, and it's not up to this. It's not up to you to have to prove to the state why you need, why you desire and feel that you need to be able to enforce and enjoy your constitutionally protected rights. Now, these are not, government rights that are issued to you. These are protected from. See, this is the whole notion of what protection is. They are protected in that the government cannot infringe upon those rights. I mean, they can't really come to you and say, well, we need to protect. We're going to infringe on your right because we want to protect you. No, that's not. No, they can't do it. Not if they're following the Constitution, folks. Constitution forbids the government from interfering with your constitutional rights, constitutionally protected rights, your inalienable rights. One of those inalienable rights is the right to defend your life and property. Well, Rod, does that mean that you get to use deadly force in defending your property? Well, yeah, because you have the right to defend your life and property. You do. The state isn't the only one who has, legal authority to protect you. Individual people have a right to protect themselves and their loved ones and their families and their neighborhoods and their communities. They don't need the government to they don't need to wait on government. That's not the way the Constitution was set up. That's not what our founding fathers believe. The people who actually, wrote and set up the country and the Constitution, they didn't believe that it was, government will take care of you. No. They believed that it was each individual's responsibility to take care of themselves. But we have flipped that and said, well, maybe the bigger because we have big government now, maybe it's our, big government's job to take care of you, to protect you from all the bad guys out there. We got one bad guy and two bad guys and three bad guys, and none of them have a carry permit. But you out there who want to protect yourself, you who wish to protect your hard-earned assets. Oh, no. You have no right to protect yourself and your property. That is the job and the right of the state. Yeah. When did we decide that, that you don't have a right to even just protect yourself? You got to have a good reason in order to want to protect yourself. When did that come about? Now, you want a gun. You want a concealed carry gun. You want to be able to have this gun in your car. You have got to have a good reason. Not just any reason. It has to be a good reason for wanting this gun. And it has to be a reason that I, the chief of police, approve of. And just this notion that you want to protect yourself. Well, you've never needed to protect yourself before. So why do you think you need to protect yourself now? You will probably never, ever get mugged or raped or what have you, have a crime against you. But if you do, That is why we are here, the police department. We will come to your side, to your aid, and protect you. Well, how about you just prevent the whole thing from happening in the first place by forcing the perpetrator to flee? I think that's a better notion than sitting and waiting. Because what if they want to do you bodily harm? What if they want to shoot you in the head? Well, you'll, according to one of my commercials, you'll miss your jazzercise appointment if you get shot in the back of the head. And a criminal could do that to you. You don't want that to happen. No, you don't. You don't want to be shot in the back of the head by a criminal. But however, so in D.C. they've actually got on the phones and called all the people that they've denied because they couldn't demonstrate a specific threat of injury or harm. I mean, can you imagine being? Well, no, you're totally, you have no criminal record. You seem to be a fully functioning, law-abiding citizen. But, we're going to put denied on your application because you could not demonstrate to me, the police department, that you face a specific threat of injury or harm. Now, I don't know how you're supposed to actually prove a specific threat or harm. Now, I don't know how you do that unless you've already been harmed in some form or fashion. How do you? Maybe somebody out there in the listening audience can help me. How do you determine a specific status or belief or fact that you face a threat, a serious threat of injury or harm? How do you do that? And wouldn't that really lead to an arrest or something of a potential perpetrator if you could do that? I mean, look, this guy over here is stalking me. Okay, well, if you can prove that he is, then we can arrest him. You don't need a gun, we'll arrest him. Well, that's what they're going to end up saying. If you can prove it, then you can prove that, you don't need it because you just call us, the police. That's what they're thinking, folks. Don't doubt me on that. If you actually think that they're thinking, well, if you can prove something, this bad, then, maybe we'll allow you to have a gun. But the whole point is that if you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you face this threat, then they will tell you, well, why don't you just call us when you need us? You already know that the threat is there, so now you can be vigilant about it and call us when you need us. I'm telling you that's what it's all about. It's not defending yourself. No, you don't need to defend yourself. Just call us. We'll be there. Just call on us and I'll be there type of thing. Yeah, I know it's not exactly Michael Jackson, but anyway. Washington Times again, former White House aides now on Team Hillary bash Obama's ISIS strategy. A think tank with ties to Hillary Clinton issued strong criticism of President Obama's counter-ISIL strategy earlier today, with an analyst writing that the U.S. is failing and needs to change course. We need a think tank to tell us that we're failing in Iraq? Is that the case? We need a think tank? Really? Two former Obama national security aides break with the president by urging the deployment of American ground troops to directly help the disheveled Iraqi army. One used the word failing to describe how the administration is arming the Baghdad regime. Well, Obama basically said today that, ISIS is now the problem of Baghdad. Not our problem. What? it is actually. We're, part of the problem of ISIS because we pulled out of Iraq way too soon, way before Iraq was ready to stand on their own. Now, Mrs. Clinton helped launch the Center for a New American Security, CNAS, Center for a New American Security. With a keynote speech in 2007, the center is directed by Michelle Flournoy, Flournoy, the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy for Obama, who is viewed as a candidate to be the defense secretary in a Hillary Clinton administration. Now, CNAS issued 7 papers on Thursday on defeating the Islamic State, also known as ISIS and ISIL. And with proposals far different from the current Obama strategy, it relies on limited airstrikes and training Iraq's unproven army to do the ground combat against a growing and vicious ISIL force. Now, the analysis could be viewed as a preview of how President Clinton would change course in confronting ISIL in Iraq and Syria and globally. That's actually kind of a scary thought and note. President Hillary Clinton. President Hilarious. That's what it would be. Got President Hilarious. Now, CNAS's Philip Carter, who deployed to Iraq as an army officer advising the police and later became Mr. Obama's chief of his detainee policy, is calling for significant deployment of American ground forces, an option Mr. Obama has avoided. Well, of course because look, if President Obama has to send troops back into Iraq, ground troops, then it'll prove that he was wrong about leaving Iraq so soon and leaving it open the way he did. It'll prove, well, we already know he was wrong, but he will at that particular juncture admit that he was wrong when he sends troops back in there. And look, this guy is not going to, unless he is absolutely forced by an ally or Congress to do so, he is not going to freely send any ground troops into Iraq. Not even, he's not even going to increase the advisory force. He wants no part of being in Iraq at all. He doesn't want to be. He doesn't think it's necessary. Well, whether he thinks it's necessary or not, maybe he probably does know that it's necessary, but he just won't do it because it does not lead to his final conclusion of how he wants to be remembered. His legacy is at stake here. The president is worried about his legacy. I'm not the one who's saying that this guy's got to. It's him. He just wants to. Well, anyway, we're out of time for today, folks. I'll be back on Monday. Best of show tomorrow. Until then, have a great weekend. I'm Rod Eccles. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. Bye now.